Rebuilding a Stuart Major beam engine, part 15. Cleaning out the mounting holes on the plinth using a small drill. This will effectively remove any excess cyanoacrylate adhesive. I connect the flexible piping from the pump to the inlets and outlets. This is followed by bolting a lot of the parts together and making some spacers for the pedestal. Plus I show the fitting of the various cotter pins that hold many parts together. The first thing to do is to remove the engine from the plinth. If you can remember far enough back to the last episode, you will remember that I drilled some pilot holes in the plinth. These holes were 5/32 of an inch in diameter, and then I tapped them 2BA and filled the holes with some cyanoacrylate adhesive to harden the wood. This makes for a very good thread. All I'm doing at the moment is just cleaning out the surplus cyanoacrylate adhesive to make sure that the studs go all the way down in the holes. And after this, it's time to blow away all the debris using an airline. The next step is to place the engine on the plinth, hold it at an angle so I can get my hand in to connect up the pipework. This was much more fiddly than it looks here. It took quite a while to get these things to fit onto the unions. Don't forget to use a spanner to tighten up the union nuts, and under no circumstances let go of the engine with your other hand. As you can see here, it's the bed plate onto the plinth time. I'm using the studs that I made a while back. These studs are made from long 2BA bolts, and the nuts are permanently Loctited onto the end of them. So it's a simple job to select a washer and put the bolt through the hole and tighten it down into the wood. Don't rush it. If you over-tighten the stud, then the thread will strip, and it's not a massive problem because you'll generally only do it once. You'll be more careful after the rest, but you will always know that that certain stud is not properly fitted, and that bothers me, but then again I am a bit strange. I managed to get just the right amount of pressure on all of the studs and none of them stripped. This next job is much more interesting. I'm fitting the pedestal. Now if I make a mess of this, there are serious consequences, I'm afraid. And if you're doing a job like this, take note, really take your time, think before you drill the holes. The first thing to do is to securely fasten the crankshaft into the plumber block by tightening the nuts. Here I'm just putting in position the other components to just have a look at them really. Although I do need to put on the flywheel and the pulley to show me where the end of the pedestal needs to be. Here's the pedestal going in place, and everything's looking good. Once the pedestal is in position, what I'm doing here is tightening up the nuts on the plumber block, but not quite as tight as on the one at the bed plate end. This clip is showing me fitting some packings underneath the pedestal. It's most important to make sure that the packings are precisely the right height. If you put too much pressure on the pedestal, it will try and lift the crankshaft and it will bind, and if you use too little packing, the crankshaft will drop and it will also bind. I ended up making two small blocks which consisted of two pieces of mahogany stuck together with cyanoacrylate adhesive. After the adhesive set, I ground them down on the belt sander to be a perfect fit. If you're doing a job like this, do not make the packings a slack fit. They need to be slightly pushy, just very, very slightly, because don't forget they're eventually going to be bolted down onto the bed plate and they're taking the weight of the pedestal and the end of the crankshaft. So if they were a little bit on the small side, you're likely to get a dip on the pedestal height, which would cause the crankshaft to bind. It is absolutely essential to get the crankshaft right on a steam engine. If you do not get the crankshaft right and it's binding or it's off-centre, then the rest of the steam engine will never work, because the mechanical linkages will be completely wrong. This clip is showing me using a modified pencil. I modified it on the belt sander. Not good engineering practice, I know, but it does the job. I'm going to be drilling the holes in the packings oversize anyway. For the main marking out, I'm going to use some transfer punches. These are transfer punches. All you do with them is put them in the hole and tap them with a hammer, and they put a nice centre point exactly where you need it to be. And now it's time to remove the pedestal, put that somewhere safe and be careful not to chip the paint. Then remove the flywheel. You do not want this big heavy piece of metal hanging on the end of the crankshaft unsupported. And then it's time to drill a hole in your beautiful baseboard. Be very careful doing this, you don't want the drill bit to skate all over the baseboard. I'm using a 5/32 of an inch pilot drill, mainly because it was laying about in the bench from the last operation. Once I've piloted both of the holes, which are precisely in the right place, owing to the fact that I've used transfer punches, it's time to open up the holes to the finished dimension, which is 1/4 inch. Make sure at all times you hold the drill vertical. This of course is a hand drill, not a pedestal drill, so it's quite easy to get it off centre, and that would not be good. I'm going to use countersunk bolts for mounting the pedestal, so the baseboard will need countersinking from underneath, but there is also a little bit of roughness around the holes at the top, so I'll just clean these off with the countersink. I don't want anything to affect the position of the pedestal relative to the crankshaft. So now, very carefully holding the engine out over the bench, it's heavy enough to just sit there, I'm countersinking the underside, much deeper than the top side, to take the bolts. It's very important to make sure that the bolts are well recessed underneath. So with the pedestal bolted to the baseboard, it's time to just touch in the mahogany with a very small paintbrush. I'm using the same Ronseal hard glaze varnish that I use for the baseboard, and this varnish will not only make the assembly look good, it will oil-proof the packings. And now, as you can see clearly, success. The crankshaft has a very nice firm but free feel to it. On this model engine, all of the bearing assemblies are held in place by these pins, as you can see. Here's the taper pin going into place that holds the whole thing together. I don't normally use a hammer like this on an engine. I'm just showing how the thing is tapped into place using a hammer. The hammer blows are extremely light, and I must say that if you miss the cotter with the hammer and smash part of the engine, that is not recommended also. As I mentioned earlier, this method of holding bearing halves in place is used on full-size steam engines, and it's really effective. And you don't really need too much pressure, particularly on a model, for the cotters to hold in place. Where it does become a problem is if the model is very, very tiny, because you do not have enough surface area to generate the friction to hold the cotter pin in place. But as this is quite a large model engine, there's more than enough friction to hold the cotter pins in place without resorting to ultra-violence and damaging the components. No such hammer is needed for the next part. This is the water pump, and I'm fitting the water pump ram. This just slides into the water pump, and the other end fastens to this pin, which fits across the beam, as you can see here. I can't really say too much about this, it's very self-explanatory. A bolt with a washer keeps the rod in place, and the pin just slides into the beam. It's time now to fit the valve gear. The valve gear fits onto the eccentric fits onto the crankshaft, and the first thing to do, as always, is lubricate the component before assembly. Even though this is a large engine by model steam engine standards, I still found it very fiddly putting the nuts onto the bolts that hold the eccentric strap in place on the sheave. And after only dropping about 4 or 5 BA nuts on the floor, I finally managed to get it to fit together. In the end, I managed to get the bottom nut onto the eccentric strap using a socket. With the eccentric finally fitted, I could turn my attention to the valve, making sure that the valve passed over the ports equidistantly just before top dead centre, and the same at bottom dead centre. This was achieved by moving the eccentric sheave, that's why I drilled a hole in the eccentric strap, until I could get the valve to be precisely in the right place. What I'm doing here is assembling the steam pipe and the flange to the cover on the bench. Everything seems to be fiddly and conspiring against me. Here I'm fitting a nut to the steam chest cover. I've put a washer on first so that the nut doesn't chew up the paint on the cover. With this job, patience is a virtue, and under no circumstances, if you're doing a job like this, rush it, and do not over-tighten the nuts. It would be disastrous to shear a stud at this stage. This is the exhaust manifold, and these nuts are even smaller. These are, I think, 7 BA. I'm putting some compound on there, because there isn't a gasket required here. It's a very low pressure connection. After all that fiddling with nuts, I think it's time to use a bit more violence and tap another taper cotter into place. This is on the Watts parallel motion. The tie rod bearings that hold the parallel motion to the main frame are actually mounted on these split bushers. Now I definitely do not want to drop these on the floor and lose them, so I'm sticking them in place, as you can see, with some grease, which also lubricates them as well. And then I put the tie rods in place, first at one side, and then the other. Here's the grease going in place, followed by the 2 split bearings, and then the tie rod, not forgetting to carefully tighten the bolts with a small spanner at each end which hold the bearings in place. Now it's time to check everything rotates okay. And indeed it does, although everything's a little bit tight. Nearly there now. Thanks for watching and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists you can actually watch the videos back to back.